pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, laws of 1975, the state of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On January 2nd, 2019, a notice was faxed and mailed to the following newspapers: the Home News Tribune and the Sentinel. On January 2nd, 2019, a notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. And on January 2nd, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Mr. Andre?
Here.
Mr. Bazak?
Here.
Mrs. Beck?
Here.
Mrs. Bush?
Mr. Bush has been excused.
Mrs. Cruz?
Here.
Mr. Nielsen?
Here.
Mr. Rosanno?
Here.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Here.
Mr. Waluda?
Here.
Mrs. Cassiano?
The all board members have minutes in October, November, and December. Board members, your pleasure.
Move the minutes in accordance with board policy.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Use of facilities.
There's 7 items on the agenda for tonight: the class of 2022, the South River Little League, the South River Robotics, South River Project Graduation, Parks and Recreation.
Board members, your pleasure.
Move the use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Anderson, second by Mrs. Beck.
Mr. Waluda, I just need to abstain from 1205.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
For the rest.
Opposed? So carried. And the financial report, Mrs. Clerk?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and Treasurer of School Monies for November 2018 be approved, and I so move.
Motion by Mrs. Cruz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And Mrs. Zech.
Thank you, Mr. Waluda. So the first item on my monthly report today is an announcement about our spring curriculum fair. We're going to be sending out flyers pretty soon, probably by March, really advertising this event. But the event is for all community members. We will be highlighting all the wonderful opportunities offered in our schools. All of our district teachers, pre-K to 12, will be displaying student work, so every single one of our students in the district will have something on display to showcase. Our departments will also be there to present information about their particular programs, so we're really looking forward to it. We're also having mini performances that day, so our choruses will be performing, our drama clubs will be doing a number, our band, so we'll have performances as well that evening in our auditorium. We have our PTAs, we'll have a table that day to give information about their programs and their offerings. Middlesex County College will be joining us as well to talk about the partnerships that they have with our district. So we're really excited about this, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a huge event, May 23rd, 6 p.m., and we're looking forward to it. So please be on the lookout for this event.
I have a comment and a question. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Sure.
if I may. I attended last year, it was great, absolutely great. Parents loved it. The question I have, though, is this, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't this conflict with our board meeting that night?
So our board meeting is that night, and I did that so that you could all come to the event and then come right down to the board meeting so that you could be available for both. So you'll get to really be able to sample before and after the board meeting a lot of what's going on that night.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Yep. Okay. I wanted to thank the board for allowing me the professional days to go to the Leadership Institute in Tucson. It was just a wonderful experience. I got to meet superintendents from all over the country, and it was amazing how our districts could be so different, yet have some of the same challenges and some of the same things to celebrate too. But we talked a lot about just different ways that we can address some of the current needs that are happening in education. And one of the best things I learned at the program was how to use media and phone applications to engage the community. And we know that that's been a
Okay.
challenge for us, getting people into evening events and so on. But I got to learn about many, like I said, phone applications that are out there where we can collect feedback very quickly, very easily, from the public and in a way that is convenient for them without, without really conflicting with their schedules and everything that's happening with our families. So I'm looking forward to sharing more of that with you. Budget season is upon us. That's my next item. We're beginning the process of collecting our wish lists from our principals and our administrators, our departments. We're in the process of reviewing that. And how that process works is each department, each school assesses the needs of their particular building. That's related to one of our district goals, which is to make sure that we use student performance data to identify those needs and then to align the resources that we're asking for to those needs. So they've been going through that process and choosing really and identifying what's their priorities based on those that performance data. After that, our business administrator and I will sit down, we'll review, we'll check for that alignment as well. We'll meet with each person individual, with each department, each principal individually. We then have a meeting with our board's finance committee, and we discuss the budget process and how we came to the budget items. Then we'll present a proposed budget to the finance committee, and that budget proposal then goes to the full board, and then it's presented to the public. So that's kind of a short version of how that process works. And January is School Board Appreciation Month. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you how much I appreciate, on behalf of our community, everything that you do as board members, all the time that you spend, all the thorough reading that you do of all of our board agendas and everything that comes your way. And I have a nice certificate for you just to
Thank you.
celebrate
Thank you.
Board Appreciation Month.
No raise?
No raise.
Well, that's right, we don't get paid.
So happy Board Appreciation Month.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia.
And that concludes my report.
Members are pleasure on the report.
Move the superintendent's report.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Strother, second by Mr. Munising, to accept the superintendent's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We now go to the committee reports.
Sure.
Athletic committee.
Sure, I've got athletics and extracurricular activities. I got an update from Ms. Perkins yesterday, like I do every month, because she's so thorough. If you want the information, you go to her. So as of yesterday, the records for all the teams, the boys basketball varsity is 9-5, JV is 5-8, middle school is 8-1, girls basketball varsity is 9-6, junior varsity is 4-8, middle school is 4-5. Bowling, the boys are 2-15, sorry, and the girls are 10-6. Wrestling for the high school is 1-11, middle school is 7-2. And then some other notable things. We have Eleni Fagulis took second place in the girls GMC bowling tournament, and Kalena Brimage took 27th. Congratulations to the girls. Unfortunately, we didn't have any of the boys qualify, but the bowling team will also be participating in the Joe Romer tournament on Saturday. Our cheerleaders will be competing in a competition in Asbury Park in February. The boys basketball team ran a food drive and delivered 5 boxes of various food items, as well as toys, basketballs, jump ropes, bubbles, and sidewalk chalk to the Ozanam Family Shelter in New Brunswick.
Ozanam.
Thank you. I knew I missed it. And we will have, and we will also have one individual boy, Oliver Carr, participating in the NJSIAA fencing tournament this Saturday in North Huntington. And then we have the Rambotics team is working hard designing, building, programming the robot for their competition coming up the weekend of St. Patty's Day, March 16th and 17th at Bridgewater. That's the first competition. And anybody wants to come join me, I'm going to go stop down and see them tonight after the meeting, just see how their progress is going. So it concludes my report.
There's also, there's also the winter sports senior days are coming up. I think wrestling is February 6th, and then the girls and the boys basketball, it's February 7th, February 8th games. I'm not sure which which one plays on which day, but it's the 6th, 7th, 8th are all senior days for the winter sports. That's it.
Anyone else? Good. Buildings and grounds, Mrs. Leonard?
Thank you, Mr. Wailuda. So under the Buildings and Grounds report, which was submitted by Steve Blaja, our Supervisor of Buildings and Grounds, our continued maintenance is always being done, replacing bulbs, desks, ceiling tiles, a lot of repairs. But most significant, I do want to point out that in the middle school, we have such talent on staff that the blower motor on the second boiler was replaced by our in-house staff, which was a savings to the district of almost $3,000, had to have gone out. And also Steve goes on to speak about our new groundskeeper, who has been removing a lot of the down branches and cleaning up the remaining leaves on the ground. This is actually a really good time to do that, not only here, but at our own homes. I know I try to participate in this myself, because all of the brush has died down, and you could see what's there and pull it all out without working up a real sweat, because it's just so cold out. And speaking of cold, he does acknowledge that we really had not have any winter events this year yet, but we have not had any snow days, have we?
Nope.
So,
Due by the end of the week
it's
now.
the end of January, but once again, I'd just like to ask if there are any comments or questions on the Buildings and Ground report, and also to thank our great supervisor and what he does with our staff. And so concludes my report.
Anyone, any questions? Mrs. Cruz?
Yes, 10 items this evening on finance. 1, approve appoint Gerard Stankowitz, CPA, PSA, of Samuel Klein and Company Auditing Services for 2018-19 school year. 2, approve amend contract addendum ESS Support Services, LLC Preschool Paraprofessionals 2018-19 school year. 3, approve contract Raritan Valley Bus Service Field Trip Service Provider 2018-19 school year. 4, approve contract the Friends of Washington Crossing Park Agreement 2018-19 school year. 5, approve contract Renau Information Group Inc. Professional Development Service Provider 2018-19 school year. 6, approve award contract bid number 18-12 High School Vestibule Project G. Meyer Group Inc. 2018-19 school year. 7, approve tax requisition. 8, approve line item transfers. 9, approve requisition list. 10, approve contract the DJ Experience DJ Service Provider 2018-19 school year.
Anyone have any questions? Not, then the instruction committee, Mr. Sanders?
Thank you, Mr. Wailuda. There are 6 items on the agenda tonight. 1, approve professional development and travel expenses 2018-19 school year. Excuse me. Number 2, approve field trips 2018-2019 school year. Number 3, approve new curriculum guide. Number 4, approve revised curricula guides. I'm sorry, number 4, yeah. Number 5, approve home instruction 2018-2019 school year. And number 6, approve agreement Middlesex County College. College readiness now, is that a V or a 5? Sorry.
5.
5. Readiness 5 grant, high school 2018-2019 school year. A couple of comments though, Mr. Wailuda. I have a request that we pull number 4 from the consent resolution and discuss it later. The reason is, part of our responsibility as the instruction committee is to review all of the curriculum guides. Well, last week when we got the first packet, I was surprised to find 131 curriculum guides for review a week before the meeting. Now, Mrs. Beck informs me tonight that this could be what Dr. Trevisano said at our last curriculum meeting, minor revisions, okay? And if that's what they are, I still think we need to review them. But, you know, as one of our other board members said, in her work, they trust the professionals to do what they need to do and recommend. And I feel the same way to a point. But if we're gonna trust the professionals and just vote yes on what they recommend, why are we here? Rhetorical question, Mr. But, you know, I'll get out the rubber stamp, make all of our lives a little easier. So I'd like to discuss that later on with the board, and I'll go with whatever the majority feels. Yes,
You wanna discuss it right now?
it's up,
I,
it's up to
I
you.
would think you should discuss it
Yeah.
right
Right.
now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I would recommend that. So the changes were brought up at multiple instruction committee meetings.
Uh-huh.
They are the changes that we need for CUSAC alignment. And those changes, we gave specific information about what those changes would be. I have the list of those changes that were part of the agenda for the instruction committee. So the changes were to include the 21st century standards, the 21st century career readiness practices, technology standards, assessment practices, interdisciplinary connections, modifications for IEP 504 ELL and gifted students, and updated WIDA standards, which is for our ELL students. That is a CUSAC requirement, and Dr. Trevisano brought this up actually last June to the committee, because he's been working on these revisions himself actually since last June. He started in preparation for CUSAC. You can pull it from the agenda, but it is for CUSAC, and right now we are up in the air as to when CUSAC is coming to visit, so they could give us a February date or a March date. I would recommend to the board that you strongly consider, but it's really up to you. If you wanna pull it from the agenda, you certainly can.
No, I'd rather not pull it, I'd rather discuss it and then decide whether we should or not. The reason I asked to pull it, Mrs. Zercher, is so we could vote on everything else and then discuss this later, but if you wanna discuss it now, this is fine with me. And I'm sorry, I remember most of that, but they were the reasons for the revisions. They weren't the revisions. And I'd like to know, like, if I go online and find our curricula, will the revisions be underlined? I didn't see that.
The revisions are the inclusion of those standards.
I-
We can lead you,
But specifically,
we can set up an appointment for Dr. Trevisano to sit and discuss it in more detail. That's the best I can offer, I think.
Can I ask a question? These items, cause I just got put on this committee, so I haven't had a chance to review it as well, 'cause I didn't know where to find them. Which we discussed before this meeting. The standards that you're referring to, that you're including, are they, standard language that's just inserted?
Yes.
Is it like, just like a pan?
Correct. So there's a list of 21st century standards, for example, that are
Mhm.
found on the Department of Ed's website. And so what Dr. Trevisano did was, based on the course or content, he pulled the standards that would apply to that content, that grade level, that course.
So it's
So
not.
for grade 3, there's a list of 21st century standards. He pulled the ones that would apply to 3rd grade math,
Okay.
and so on.
So
That's
it's
really
not-
what he
them
did.
into the
He just
document.
aligned and inserted them, correct.
Okay, so it's not language we're creating, it's
No,
from the state,
correct.
we're just inputting.
Correct, and now the modifications, so for example, the modifications for ELL students, gifted students, IEP 504, that is, that came from the teachers themselves in terms of what modifications they make for those students on a daily basis, and putting those into the curriculum.
So if we approve tonight, and then, go back and take a week to go through and review it, and we find questions, can we meet as a committee and address those, and can they be edited again, or is it, once again, has to go on the?
You can always revise curriculum, so you can approve them tonight, and you could certainly revise them and approve them again next month, if I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yes,
if
you
we
can revise
see something that we
curriculum.
have a question about, we
Yep.
can come back, ask a question. But as far as CUSAC, we have the material there to handle that.
That would be my recommendation.
There, another comment. I think we're very, very fortunate, more than any other districts, to have Mr. Rosanna, since he's been in the school system himself, and he probably knows a lot of his instructions in and out. With CUSAC right on our back, and the way the state operates, we might get notice tomorrow that we've gotta come. And I think we all definitely wanna be ready for CUSAC no matter what. Can we, and maybe it's in connection with, Mrs. Zercher said, approve it, but still have the instruction committee go through it with the idea that if there's anything in there, in our approval, that would have to come back to the board for revision or for explanation or whatever have you. At least this way, if they came to us quickly, we would have it there for them. But it also would give us time for the instruction committee, if there's any questions whatsoever, still keep it open in order to get a better explanation or revision.
And I definitely want some clarity, so I need to know who, is it the full board that wants to review the curriculum documents, or is it just the instruction committee? Do you want to review all 100 and something
31.
documents? Do you?
Not that I count. But no, I don't think.
You tell me what you want.
I think tonight, in my opinion, and, you know, Mrs. Cruz and, well, Mrs. Bush isn't here, but the rest of you certainly weigh in. In my opinion, the discussion we just had, as short as it was rather healthy and rather explanatory. And Mrs. Cruz's point about it's language from the state that was put in really, really makes me feel a whole lot better about this whole thing,
Yeah.
okay? So.
I think it's just the instruction
Yeah.
committee, really, that needs to review it. Because I know,
Yeah.
I'm with Tony, I don't like saying okay to something that I haven't actually had a chance to read. But I'm okay with approving something for tonight, knowing I can go back, review
Yeah.
it, and then
Yeah.
bring any issues to the
Yeah.
table next month.
That's
Yeah.
why I think
I'm
that's a
okay
very
with that.
valuable piece of information, Mrs. Cruz, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you
Mr.
want
Waluda?
to
Which,
review it
if
with,
I-
with Dr. Trevisano?
To review it with him?
Oh,
I think we can,
no, we can read it.
we can read them.
Yeah.
You wanna read them independently?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do that.
if
And then
that's
if we
okay.
find an issue or something, then we can always call
If
you
it
and
was
let
a
you know.
major thing, then you'd get.
Yeah, if it's something,
Yeah, it might just be legal,
Whatever it is, yeah.
and then you just browse through it.
If there's a
but
major
otherwise-
thing, we'll let you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
But that,
If I-
that's reasonable, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mrs.
no, I was just gonna suggest if I can add 2 items perhaps, if you just provide, if the state language is just provided, knowing that then it was applied, across the board as it pertains to, as you pointed out, 3rd grade, 5th grade, and so forth and so on. Would you want every single one, or just know that since it is state language that is going to be put in there, this way that could, hopefully,
I can send you the link to the
Yeah.
standards from the DOE website.
either that, the link, or
Okay.
just go and look it up. And then my bigger question is, and maybe this is a question for next month, do we have the ability or the jurisdiction to rewrite state statute language that's
That's-
required for CUSAC?
That's where I was going with that.
Thank you.
Urbanek. There
That was
are
my
a couple
second
of
career.
structural legal issues, because this one's not a rhetorical question.
Okay.
First of all, it should be committee review. You've adopted a committee process, and the board does not sit in judgment of your curricula, although you do have to vote on them. So that's that balance that is what Tony was talking about before. So I would certainly say that the curriculum committee should be, the review should be limited to the curriculum committee. If you have questions, Dr. Trevisano, Ms. Zercher are available. Providing the state document is a great idea, because the analogy here is when you get mandated policies from the state, feel free to read them. I hope it's a pleasant reading experience, and then vote yes.
Good for the next month.
This is very similar to that, and Reg is right, Sylvia is right, that you could get a call from CUSAC tomorrow saying, how's your Monday look? The answer should be, it looks real good, and our policies are all good, and our curricula have been approved and are compliant. Plugging in the state language, having a copy of the state language, and seeing that that's what's different on page 2 of number 130 out of 131 curricula you read through, might be helpful, or better yet, reassuring. And lastly, you said you can bring revisions or clarifications back to the board and to the administration. That will mostly be clarifications, because even a unanimous committee can't go to Dr. Trevisano and say, you know, this delivery of math curriculum, this is not how we want to see it going down, because that really is an administrative function. It is also an administrative responsibility to explain to you why it's going to be that way. So you have every right to ask questions and clarifications, but it is not the board's function or the board's jurisdiction to rewrite either over state mandates, nor over your administrative recommendations, unless there's something, I mean, a flat-out error.
Yeah.
Where it, you know, where it talks about algebra in the European history AP. Maybe that's a mistake, maybe that's something that should be brought to their attention. But short of that, it's a review process.
That's the kind of thing I'm looking for, Mr. Parker.
Mhm.
And also, I have no doubt that Dr. Trevisano did a wonderful job in making sure we're with the state standards. But the language may not be clear in certain cases,
Mhm.
just as you point out, and that's just an extreme example, but it could be. And I'm looking for, not that I'm a grammar Nazi, but
Yes, you are.
okay,
Yes,
yes, I
Yes, you are.
But, you know, it's, what was it, the example I had in my head just now went out, you know, but, give you an example of the kind of dangling modifier, misplaced modifier I'm talking about. I heard on the news the other day that a man attacked, in ShopRite, a man attacked a woman with a hammer. Who had the hammer?
Mhm.
According to the way that's worded, the woman did. And that's what I'm looking for. So it doesn't, nothing's ambiguous and, you know, things like that. Can I read all of these curricula in a month? No, I can't. But I can read a couple of them, and I can go to every one and just spot check and spot check and spot check. And that's what I do. You know, because it's not practical to read everything. I don't have the time, so. But I think the discussion tonight leads me to say, let's keep it on there, and then if we need to, we can take care of it at another meeting.
And you still would convene your committee to go over it?
Yeah.
So by, hopefully, at least next month, we'd have a majority of it. And
Yeah,
let us know then.
yeah, because I don't understand
Accept it
calculus,
tonight.
but I understand the wording,
Yeah.
you know. I
We'll do our
understand
best to
that's right.
convene the committee, we just have negotiations,
Well, that's okay,
finance,
you know,
we have
it,
a lot of committee meetings coming up,
we
but
could
we'll
even
do our
meet
best.
informally if we had to, but.
Yeah.
The other thing I have is, and this has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time, the new curriculum guide. Mrs. Zercher, is this already implemented?
No, that's
It's not. It's for
a
next year?
new- yeah,
good.
let me just take,
Good,
Just
good, good,
double
this
check
is
myself.
excellent then.
It's one of the new courses.
As
Yeah,
I recall from the
I
last
don't
meeting, it's a new
remember what the new
course.
courses were.
Yeah, we had discussed.
I can't find my notes.
It's a 1920 class.
Okay, good, that's all I needed to know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then
Okay.
we'll be approved tonight. and we'll
Yes.
follow on.
That's fine with me, thank you everyone. I appreciate your suggestions.
Okay, anyone else? And Mr. Poirier?
As far as negotiations with the SREA, we have finalized to the penny the scattergrams, which is good. It knows where we're starting from. Now we just have to figure out where we're going, which is perhaps the bigger issue. The administration is reviewing everything. I've provided some recommendations, and then on February 4th, we have a committee meeting to finalize, and after that, we will schedule meetings with the SREA and commence the face-to-face process.
And the date then hasn't been set yet?
The date
for
has not been
exchange.
set. We offered them a couple of dates that their representative had problems with. So we'll work directly with the SREA president and the NJEA rep and work out some dates. And then on February 4th, I will have a list of dates, hopefully for the committee, and we will figure out at least a couple that work for the four of you.
Because it's getting late already.
It is.
Okay. There you go. Any policy, Mr.
We have 7 items tonight, sir. 1, adopt second reading revised policy number 5131.1, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. 2, approve first reading revised policy number 1250, visitors. 3, approve first reading revised policy number 1330, use of school facilities. 4, approve first reading revised policy number 3515, smoking prohibition. 5, approve first reading revised policy number 4219.23, employee substance abuse. 6, approve first reading revised policy number 5131.6, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, substance abuse. 7, approve first reading revised policy number 6300, evaluation of the instructional program. And that's it, sir.
Anyone have any questions on any of it? No, do you want to continue with the hearing?
At 15 under Human Resources. 1, approve resignation of Vincent Stasio, middle school science leave replacement teacher. 2, approve resignation Melissa Felicio, speech therapist. 3, approve, appoint Michelle May, middle school language arts leave replacement teacher, 2018-2019 school year. 4, approve, appoint Ronaldo Barria, preschool teacher, 2018-2019 school year. 5, approve, appoint additional substitutes, 2018-2019 school year. 6, approve disability sick/family leave, Paul Coleman, elementary school assistant principal, 2018-2019 school year. 7, approve disability/sick/family leave, Gregory Hans, high school special education social studies teacher, 2018-2019 school year. 8, approve, appoint Patrick McDowell, fine and performing arts teacher leader, K through 12, 2018-2019 school year. 9, approve payment to staff members for 7th period class coverage, middle school, 2018-2019 school year. 10, approve intermittent family leave, Pamela Gruenthal, primary school teacher, 2018-2019 school year. 11, approve, appoint additional 21st century career and alternative program staff, 2018-2019 school year. 12, approve revised salaries, non-bargaining unit, 2018-2019 school year. 13, approve curriculum writing staff, 2018-2019 school year. 14, approve, appoint additional site workers, 2018-2019 seasons. 15, approve intermittent family leave, Kim Yerudia, elementary school ASI teacher, 2018-2019 school year. 16, approve, appoint Amanda Thiebold, school psychologist, 2018-2019 school year.
Any questions on any of that?
Okay.
No? Okay.
Yes, Mr. President, I have 6 on our agenda tonight. We'll start with number 1, approve contract to DCF Regional School Bergen Campus, New Jersey Department of Children and Families, 2018-2019 school year. Number 2, approve route number 9080 to Coastal Learning Center, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey, 2018 and 2019 school year. Number 3, approve route number 9348 to Piscataway Votech, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for 2018-2019 school year. Number 4, approve route number T347 to Calais High School, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey, 2018-2019 school year. Number 5, approve route number T1052 to South River Alternative High School, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for 2018-2019 school year. And number 6, approve route number T1060 to South River High School, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for 2018-2019 school year.
Anyone?
Actually, Mr. Wailuda, I just want to ask if Ms. Zercher could keep me apprised of this school traffic pattern change. I think all board members received a notice regarding that left turns are now allowed from westbound traffic into the lower middle school parking lot. If you could just update me on how that's going from time to time. I'll give you a call tomorrow, just discuss with you what I see when I drive out there, so for some things to look out for.
Sure.
So, and see how that's,
I have a meeting
Developing.
scheduled with Sergeant Yorick and Chief Tinitigan next Tuesday
oh, okay,
to
okay.
discuss what they've noticed. It was a temporary,
Yeah,
just to really do a study. And then there'll be, so if you have any information, if you're there around that time and you have other information that you can give me, you know,
have some
certainly send me
information
that
for you.
feedback, so that I can share it with them at that meeting.
will do. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. This time we will open the meeting to the public. Any comments or questions on items that have been discussed on the agenda? Please give us your name and address, and the time will be limited to 10 minutes. Anyone from the audience? Seeing none, last call. Close the public portion of the meeting. We'll continue with the consent resolution.
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine non-controversial nature at one time, whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. Under finance, items 1 through 10, under instruction, items 1 through 6, under policy and legislation, items 1 through 7, under human resources, items 1 through 16, safety and risk, items 1 through 6.
Board members, your pleasure.
Move the consent resolution.
Second.
Mr. Rosano, second by Ms. Beck. Roll call.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Bezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Cruz?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanna?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanic?
Yes.
Mr. Iluda?
Yes, motion been carried. We'll continue then with the community. Mr. Bezak?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 15 items on the agenda. The first one is the Wall of Fame. The South River School District will once again be seeking nominations for individuals for the selection to the South River High School Wall of Fame. Number 2, the South River Foundation for Educational Excellence is going to be holding its 4th annual dinner dance February 21st at the Riamar at 7 p.m. It's a great event to attend, a lot of fun, and I think that Cheryl's going to talk a little bit more about that. Number 3, the South River Primary School Governor's Educator and Educational Services Professional of the Year. Miss Melissa Kosh is a Fairleigh Dickinson University graduate who has been teaching kindergarten at the South River Primary School for the past 4 years. Miss Kosh is the current teacher leader for kindergarten. She is very creative and is always coming up with new hands-on activities and projects to keep her students engaged. As a former South River graduate, she has given back to the community by running recreational soccer clinics during the spring. Ms. Kosh's outgoing and warm personality has encouraged South River students to be inspired and learn each and every year. I want to congratulate Mrs. Kosh. Number 4, the South River Elementary School Governor's Educational Services Professional of the Year. South River Elementary School proudly announces that Miriam Greenberg has been selected by a school committee as the South River Elementary School Governor's Educational Services Professional of the Year. Mrs. Greenberg has been a teacher in the South River School District for 10 years. Mrs. Greenberg is an innovative speech therapist who looks for ways to connect with students on a personal level and consistently goes above and beyond to assist students with their growth and development. She works collaboratively with teachers and parents by providing engaging new strategies and ideas to promote language and social development. Congratulations to Mrs. Greenberg. Number 5, the South River Elementary School Governor's Educator of the Year. South River Elementary School proudly announces that Christine Mangelli has been selected by a school committee as the South River Elementary School Governor's Educator of the Year. Ms. Mangelli has been a teacher in the South River School District for 8 years. Ms. Mangelli is an innovative teacher who looks for ways to connect with students on a personal level. She infuses life skills to encourage connections between the real world and educational content. In addition to her teaching responsibilities, Ms. Mangelli has been a coach for South River Soccer, basketball, and track teams. She has also been recognized for her contributions to the school community by the South River Foundation for Educational Excellence. Congratulations to Mrs. Mangelli. Number 6, the South River Middle School Governor's Educator of the Year is Doreen Zadlock. Congratulations to Ms. Doreen Zadlock, who has been selected Middle School Governor's Educator of the Year for 2018-2019. Doreen Zadlock genuinely cares for her students and shows concern for them in and out of her classroom. She has established an excellent rapport with students, and they truly enjoy her class and respond well to her nurturing manner. Doreen is always searching for new methods to enable all students to be successful. She takes her job very seriously and devotes a lot of time to it. She works well with other teachers on the 6th grade team and in language arts department by sharing ideas and giving support. Doreen communicates regularly with staff and parents, always having the students' best interests in mind. She attends various professional development and incorporates the learned ideas into her classroom. Having grown up in South River, Doreen Zadlock still attends high school football games and other sporting events to show her support not only for her hometown, but for her former and current students who are now members of the teams. Number 7, the November Student of the Month for the 6th grade. Congratulations to Melvin Santos for being selected as 6th grade Student of the Month for November. Melvin's favorite subject is math because he feels he excels in math. Outside of school, Melvin also plays soccer for the Middlesex Soccer League. Congratulations, Melvin. Number 8, the November Student of the Month for 7th grade. Brian Oginzak is the 7th grade Student of the Month. His favorite subject is history because he likes to learn about the past and how it affects our current society. When he's older, he plans to run for local office and from there move up the political ladder. Good luck. Congratulations. Number 9, November Student of the Month for the 8th grade. Student of the Month for the 8th grade is Kevin Kosa. Kevin enjoys his classes, studies, and pays attention in school and attributes his good grades to that. He enjoys drawing, painting, and playing the ukulele. He is part of the drama club at South River Middle School and wishes to become a veterinarian because he loves animals. Congratulations. Number 10, the December Student of the Month for the 6th grade. Congratulations to Keonoe Lewis for being selected as a 6th grade Student of the Month for December. Keone feels that she is a great role model for her fellow classmates because she is excited to learn and always willing to help. She is a member of the Middle School Student Council and enjoys skateboarding, playing sports during her free time outside of school. Number 11, the December Student of the Month for the 7th grade. Andrea Katovia is the 7th grade Student of the Month for December. Andrea gets good grades by studying and paying attention in class. She maintains these grades by keeping her test scores up and doing extra credit when she can. Congratulations, Andrea. The December Student of the Month for the 8th grade. The Student of the Month for December 8th grade is Isabella Barato. Isabella is a bright student who does study very hard for all her major tests and takes notes in class so she can maintain good grades. Her favorite subject is language arts because she loves to read and write, and her class is a lot of fun. She wants to be a surgeon when she grows up. Congratulations, Isabella. Number 13, the High School Poetry Out Loud. The South River High School English Department held its 3rd annual Poetry Out Loud contest on Thursday, December 13th. Students in English classes study and analyze a poem of their choice. Each winner of the classroom contest becomes a contestant for the school-wide recitation contest. The winner of the school-wide contest was Melin Ariado. I hope I said that right. Congratulations, Emilyn Ariado. I'm sorry. Number 14, the Governor's Educator and Educational Services Professional of the Year. The South River High School is pleased to announce that Mr. Greg Hans has been selected as the Governor's Educator of the Year, and Ms. Teresa Januska has been selected as the Educational Services Professional of the Year, both of whom contribute greatly to our school environment. Mr. Greg Hans, a current special education teacher, has been teaching at the high school for 12 years. During his time here, he has exemplified the very best in teaching and leadership. His approach to teaching is highly creative and motivating, inspiring his students to strive to perform at their very best regardless of their learning style. Mrs. Januska, our school social worker, has addressed the social, emotional, and academic needs of the students of the high school faithfully over the past 6 years. Her concern for the welfare of the students in and out of the classroom is prominently conveyed on a daily basis. Congratulations to Mr. Hans and Mrs. Januska.
Can I read that? No, the other one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, go on, yes.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, yeah. And there's a reason I want to read this one. South River High School is proud to honor one female and one male student each month as the South River High School Students of the Month. Maureen Rezicala, December Student of the Month. Her list of service and activities within the community is very impressive. She volunteers at the South River Community Garden and is a member of the Teen Advisory Board for the South River Public Library. Maureen holds various positions of leadership in the Cavalry Chapel, where she is an AWANA leader, Vacation Bible School leader, and Sunday morning worship leader. Additionally, Maureen is a leader in her school community, holding positions such as co-president of the National Honor Society, secretary of Future Healthcare Professionals Club, vice president of the Robotics Club, co-president of EARTH Club, and parliamentarian of the class of 2019. Maureen also serves as safety ambassador, promotes the SUDS program, and is a marching band member. Maureen has been part of the Gifted and Talented program and has the distinction of Questbridge College Prep Scholar and AP Scholar. Maureen's hard work and dedication is highlighted by her acceptance into Princeton University. Nicholas Rosano is the December Student of the Month. Nick is the Vice President of the Class of 2019, a National Honor Society member, and a freshman orientation presenter. He is also active in the South River community volunteering his time as the Vice President of the Corpus Christi Youth Group, serving on the Juvenile Conference Committee, and leading community events as an Eagle Scout for the Boy Scouts of America. You can find Nick participating as a member of the JV basketball team and varsity baseball team, where he is the captain. In addition to his service, Nick holds part-time jobs and excels in the classroom. Congratulations to Nick Rosanna. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Anyone else have anything to add? We now connect on the liaison to the captain's script.
I have no report for this evening, however, if we could reach out to, Councilman Eppinger and see if we can schedule a meeting, I don't know.
We did, we got his schedule, I mentioned it to Mr. Wailuda. One of the challenges is that, we have to move the meetings to a later time.
Okay.
So we're considering, we talked about the possibility of holding the meetings after
Okay.
our board meetings.
That's
So that's
fine.
what we're looking at.
Okay.
Maybe
after the pre-meeting.
That might be good.
That's fine with me.
Yeah. Okay. And, PTA liaison, Mrs. Beck?
Sure. The high school PTSA met last week. They're working on setting up their deadlines for their scholarship applications. Their next meeting will be at the general meeting with, on February 27th at the PTA Founders Day, that all the PTAs will be attending. And then their last meeting for the year, if anybody wants to, and I'll mention this next month too, is April 17th. The middle school and the elementary school both have meetings next week, so Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'll be attending those. And then, and the primary school, middle school and primary school are next week. Elementary school, doesn't have one this month. And they will all be attending, February 27th Founder's Day.
Anyone else have? None? The library, Mr. Baker?
Yes, thank you. I attended Tuesday evening's library trustee meeting. The library staff are working very hard to put together a list of events for the springtime and also for the summer. They also have a lot going on in February and March. It's a lot of activities for people of all ages, so I suggest you go on our website, look, and, help the library out, support the library, attend some of their classes. That's about it.
Anyone else to add? And the Education Foundation?
I'll take that one. Their dinner dance is next Friday night. Tickets are on sale now for $60 each through Sunday. Then they go up to $70 on Monday. And this year's honorees are going to be our superintendent Sylvia Zurcher, South River High School business teacher and student ambassador advisor Tracy Bussell. Did I say that right? Okay, which is our back there. And then Sergeant Edwin Yurick from the police department. Hope everybody attends. It's gonna be a fun night.
Congratulations.
Yes,
To both of
congratulations
you.
to both of you.
Congratulations, all three.
And then our attorney's report, Mr. Price?
Yeah, just somewhat briefly, as briefly as possible. There is a group of headlines being generated, and it's gonna be an ongoing story for the next couple of months, and hopefully then it will be a non-story. But you may have seen that the appellate division, festively enough on December 31st, invalidated the graduation requirements for members of the class of 2019 and 2020. Victoria, if this is the first you're hearing about this, I'm sorry.
It will be fixed before
So,
we graduate.
they're gonna fix it soon.
They're gonna fix it.
But what the appellate division said is that the current scheme by which the regulations which were revised in 2016 require end-of-course exams in grade 10 for English, I'm sorry, for math, as well as Park ELA as a graduation requirement. Those are state regulations, and they're not consistent with the state statute. Regulations are supposed to implement statutes. So if it goes beyond what the statute permits or requires, technically, that is illegal.
Let me put it in super simple language.
What fun is that?
What happened?
Overstepped their boundary.
What happened was, what they found is that the graduation assessments that were being used were being administered in grades 9 and 10. But what the legislature stated was that it's a grade 11 assessment that is supposed to determine that graduation criteria.
And it's supposed to be only one test.
Exactly. So because students are being tested in grades 9 and 10, technically, they don't meet the criteria for a grade 11 assessment. So that leaves a whole lot of kids without meeting the requirement for graduation, which of course the state will not allow, I would think, would not allow, and that's what's being, sort of argued back and forth right now. How do we grandfather in the students who did take the 9 and 10 assessment to ensure that they're meeting a graduation requirement?
Yeah, and even in rendering the decision that the regulations and the current graduation standards are invalid, the court said, we understand what's going to happen here, we understand that there are about 100,000 children or school students affected, and they gave the Department of Education 30 days right in their decision, saying your regs are no good, fix it, you have 30 days, we're staying our own decision. Now 30 days is coming right up because this was a December 31st decision. The appellate division would have the authority to extend that. It is virtually guaranteed to be worked out. We're not
Yeah.
going to cut the legs off of
All
students
the
like
students in
Victoria
the
and
state.
my daughter, because that would be outrageous.
And we
So,
were informed
stay
that we're
tuned.
supposed to continue with our assessment plan, so as you know, we have to provide an assessment plan with dates and so on. We were told we have to continue with that assessment plan, so we are.
So there'll probably be a compromise or a grandfathering of the students who would otherwise be unfairly affected.
Anyone have a question? No, then, Judy, Tatiana?
Yes, good evening, everybody. I have a question for tonight. So a lot of the students have been approaching me and asking about like the whole final situation, how in previous years, if you maintain like a 93 average and as your final grade in the class, you wouldn't have to take a final, you would be exempt. A lot of them are obviously like upset over this. And they were just wondering like how come this decision was made, or if it was even the board that was, I would assume it was the board that was involved with the final decision. But a lot of the students want to know like how come this has been brought about.
So, Mr. Sherman, had discussed that change with, several teachers and had, changed that language in the handbook. And then once we were informed, we discussed the fact that that language really needed to be, further discussed with the board's instruction committee, and that we couldn't make such a change, in the way that it was made. And so therefore, he changed it back for this current school year to remain the same as it always has been. And we'll be exploring changes for the future, but for this year, it's staying the same as it always has been.
Okay, so if you do maintain a 93 average, you're exempt from the final, or?
That's what the language has always been, so yes.
Okay, because I've been talking to a lot of my teachers and students, and like I guess the misconception is that if you have to take a final regardless, so that's not true?
So what I'm hearing you say is that because of that back and forth, there seems to be some confusion and we need to give some clarity. Okay, got it.
Thank you very much.
Just to make a comment on that, I was with you 100% that, yeah, it should always remain the same. However, I had another parent point out to me, and food for thought, was that if you do your classwork and do good on your test, and you're always exempt through 9th grade all the way through 12th from taking that final, the first final you're going to take is a college final, and you're not going to be prepared to take that, because you'll never have that experience for the last 4 years. So food for thought. When that parent pointed out to me, I was like, well, that could be catastrophe.
Makes sense.
Because when you get to college, you take a midterm and you take a final. And if you're not prepared for that, you're not going to pass that class.
I agree with you on that too. It's just that also the seniors, well, before like I didn't know that it changed back to the way it was previously, but the seniors, they would be exempt from the final if they had a 93 average.
Right.
And that to me, when I was thinking about it, not just to me but to the other students, it didn't really make that much sense because they're the ones that are actually closer to college and going off, and they're going to be the ones taking the finals as opposed to like the sophomores and freshmen and juniors. But I'm glad that it's still being discussed and everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think, there were a lot of reasons why some of our teachers were making those recommendations and why the discussion happened in the first place, which I thought was good discussion. What I felt was that we really needed to go back and have a process for making a change like that, including a process for communicating it to everybody so we're on the same page and so on, which this is a good example of. So, it doesn't mean that a change won't happen, it just means that we're going to take our time and implement it correctly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for now. Thank you.
I'd like to open up the board for any No more old business items? Anyone? Not, I hear a motion for the payment of bills.
The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
Motion by Mr. Scrooge.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nielsen. Comments on any of them? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. This time we'll open the meeting to the public. For any comments or questions on any item whatsoever within the community? Questions or items to be discussed will be limited to 10 minutes. So please give us your name and address. Anyone from the audience? Seeing none? We'll close the public portion and we'll entertain motion for adjournment.
Nielsen.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen.
Andre?
Second by Mr. Andre, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
You here?